Do you love 4-player co-op games, but the problem is you only have 2 friends? Well, you're in luck, because today we're talking about the top 20 3-player co-op games. These are all games that top out at 3 players, so there is no 4-player option. And if you play it with 2 players, you're not seeing these games at their full potential, so just don't even think about it. Twin Bee on the Famicom Disk System. It's also known as Stinger in the US for the NES. It's a sequel to the original Twin Bee game released for the Famicom Disk System. The game features both overhead and side-scrolling stages with some notable differences from its predecessor. While the overhead stages resemble the original Twin Bee, the side-scrolling levels have different sprite designs and gameplay mechanics. The game supports 3-player simultaneous play in the Japanese version, a rarity for a 1986 Famicom game, but this feature was reduced to 2 players in the US version. The game introduces new ships and weapons, and the levels showcase various themes and bosses. The music is catchy, but a bit repetitive, with a different song in the final level. Despite some oddities and changes, Twin Bee remains an enjoyable and slightly easier experience compared to the original. Gain Ground was a critically underrated Sega arcade release. The game mechanics combine strategy and shooting in a unique way. Unlike Gauntlet, Gain Ground's one-screen levels require strategic thinking to clear enemies or safely guide all characters to the exit before time runs out. The game's diversity of characters and their distinct abilities adds depth to the tactical gameplay. Players can choose from a variety of characters with different shooting styles and special shots, such as the ability to fire in all 8 directions. Additionally, Gain Ground offers a 3-player mode, allowing for cooperative tactics and teamwork to overcome challenges. With its blend of strategy, shooting, and diverse character selection, Gain Ground stands as an underappreciated gem in the Sega library. The arcade version is the only one that's 3 players, though. Beast Busters, a game developed by SNK in 1989, holds a special place in gaming history as the first light gun game to offer support for up to 3 players simultaneously. This arcade gem takes players on an exhilarating adventure where they control a team of mercenaries tasked with unraveling a mysterious epidemic in a town infested with intelligent, weapon-wielding zombies and other peculiar creatures. With its detailed graphics and a charming comic book style aesthetic, Beast Busters captivates players with its unique blend of horror and humor. The game's 7 stages are packed with outlandish enemies and epic boss battles, ensuring an exciting and unpredictable experience. While its simplicity and lack of weapon variety may feel nostalgic, Beast Busters remains a testament to the innovation and multiplayer fun that defined the golden age of arcade gaming. Rampage World Tour is a game that captivates players with its giant monsters and city-destroying gameplay. The game's allure lies not in its narrative, but in the sheer joy of causing destruction. The simple yet clever graphics create a captivating environment, with famous landmarks appearing in various cities. While the game may become repetitive over time, playing with friends adds an extra layer of enjoyment. I remember renting this game when it first came out on N64. That was my first experience with the Rampage series. Ultimately, Rampage World Tour offers a safe outlet to unleash our destructive tendencies, regardless of the underlying story or rationale. Mercs is a 1990 arcade game by Capcom. It serves as a sequel to Commando and features improved graphics and gameplay. Players control the mercenary squad, Wolf Force, tasked with rescuing the kidnapped ex-president in a modern military conflict. The game supports 3-player co-op and offers 6 levels with boss fights. Mercs introduces wider levels, thoughtful design, and the ability to scroll left and right. Players can collect different weapons, use grenades, and pilot vehicles like jeeps and tanks. The game employs a life meter system and offers health items and power-ups. Despite mixed quality in some ports, Mercs is considered a classic Capcom run-and-gun game. Dark Adventure, also known as Devil World, is an arcade game released by Konami in 1987. This isometric overhead game takes inspiration from Gauntlet, Indiana Jones, and Castlevania, creating a unique blend of action and adventure. With voiceovers reminiscent of Gradius and a variety of weapons and power-ups to collect, Dark Adventure offers an engaging gameplay experience. While it may suffer from limited continues and some repetitive elements, the game's concept and Konami's expertise in the arcade genre make it worth exploring. Gears of War 5 is a highly acclaimed action game that offers both an engaging campaign and a robust multiplayer experience. The game introduces new gameplay mechanics, such as the ability to control a robot companion named Jack, who can assist players in various ways. The campaign features a well-developed story and introduces open-world elements in the middle acts, providing a refreshing change of pace. The multiplayer modes offer a range of options, including the new arcade mode, which provides a more casual and chaotic experience. Additionally, Gears 5 supports 3-player local co-op gameplay, allowing friends to join forces and tackle the challenges together. Although the third player does play the support character Jack, so it's not exactly equal, but it's just cool to see a 3-player local game still being supported in modern gaming. Gears 5 has solid gameplay, a compelling story, and diverse multiplayer modes, making it one of the best action games of recent years. Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, the arcade version, is a uniquely surreal and eccentric game that offers an above-average overhead beat-em-up experience. The gameplay includes power-ups, rescuing hostages, and a special attack that wipes out enemies. With its explicit dance moves, bizarre enemies, and surreal level designs, the game stands out. It allows up to 3 players to simultaneously partake in the mischief, adding to the charm and memorable experience of this peculiar arcade gem centered around Michael Jackson's persona. This is a pretty weird game, but I actually enjoy it. When it comes to what holds up about this game, I think the gameplay is the least of everyone's concern though. The Lost Vikings is a unique puzzle platformer game that came out for the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis. However, the Sega Genesis and Mega Drive versions were the only one to include the 3-player options, so that's what we're talking about here. The game follows 3 Vikings with distinct abilities who are abducted by an alien and must travel through time and solve puzzles to return home. Each Viking's skills are essential for progressing through the levels, requiring coordination and teamwork. The game starts off easy but becomes more challenging in later levels, with slippery controls adding to the difficulty. The graphics are limited and the music is enjoyable, but the sound effects are kind of lackluster. Despite its flaws, The Lost Vikings offers an original and enjoyable gaming experience, particularly in multiplayer mode. Did you know that there's a Sonic game that was exclusively released in arcades, only in Japan? I didn't know this until fairly recently. Sega Sonic the Hedgehog is an arcade game that deviates from the traditional Sonic formula. It features 3 players simultaneous play with Sonic, Mighty the Armadillo, and Ray the Flying Squirrel. The game is presented in isometric perspective and focuses on running fast and escaping hazards. The controls utilize a trackball, but they can be challenging to master. It lacks traditional Sonic elements like rings and boss fights, making it a little repetitive. I actually really like the graphics. I think it's colorful and they hold up really well, although the soundtrack deviates from the classic Sonic style. Overall, Sega Sonic the Hedgehog might not be the best Sonic game, but for the time, it was the only Sonic game that actually had an equal cooperative experience. You didn't have to worry about Tails getting just lost in the dust, so I think that's what this game has going for it. Crystal Beans from Dungeon Explorer is a dungeon crawler game released for the Super Famicom in 1995. It's a port of the PC Engine CD game Dungeon Explorer 2 and offers a similar co-op experience to the popular Gauntlet series. Although instead of 5 players, this one was limited to 3-player co-op. The game features 8 different character classes, intuitive controls, and the ability to evolve your character through leveling up. Despite the limitations of the Super NES cartridge format, Crystal Beans from Dungeon Explorer delivers a complete and enjoyable gameplay experience. While it remained exclusive to Japan, an English translation patch was released in 2012, making it accessible to Western gamers. It is considered to be one of the best alternatives to Gauntlet on the Super NES, and a worthwhile addition to any dungeon crawler fan's collection. Nitro Ball, also known as Gun Ball, is an arcade game that was released in 1992 by Data East. While it follows the basic run-and-gun shooter formula, it adds a pinball twist to the gameplay. Players control heavily armed characters who must shoot their way through different stages, collecting points and prizes along the way. The game incorporates various pinball elements such as ramps, holes, targets, and spinners, which can be utilized to score additional points. Nitro Ball's fast-paced action, distinct stage design, and scoring mechanics make it an enjoyable and charming entry in the top-down run-and-gun genre. And of course, it offers the 3-player co-op support. Night Slashers is an arcade beat-em-up game with a campy horror setting. This came out exclusively in arcades. Set in a modern urban environment infested with zombies, werewolves, and vampires, 3 monster hunters join forces to combat the undead. The game features 3 playable characters: Christopher, a European vampire hunter, Jake, an American street brawler with metal arms, and Hong Hua, an Asian martial artist. While Night Slashers doesn't offer groundbreaking gameplay, its unique atmosphere, enthusiastic voice acting, and memorable music make it an enjoyable experience, especially when you play it with 2 other friends. 3 Dirty Dwarves is a memorable beat-em-up game with a distinct style and personality. Playing as 3 dwarves with unique attributes and weapons, the game offers a variety of stages and gameplay elements, from fighting enemies to engaging in baseball matches and minecart rides. The graphics are outstanding, reminiscent of 80s cartoons, although the soundtrack is not particularly remarkable. Despite its relative obscurity, 3 Dirty Dwarves is a charming and enjoyable experience that leaves a lasting impression. I think this is one of the best Sega Saturn exclusives, and it holds up pretty well. It's unfortunate that the game didn't receive more recognition and opportunities on other platforms. If you could find a way to play it, whether through emulation or acquiring a copy, it's definitely worth a try for beat-em-up enthusiasts and those seeking a cartoony adventure. Trine 2 is a visually stunning puzzle platformer sequel that offers more physics-based challenges, beautiful environments, and the addition of online multiplayer. Players control a trio of adventurers with unique abilities to overcome obstacles and defeat enemies. The game's open-ended nature allows for creative problem-solving and solo or multiplayer gameplay. I think Trine 2 is widely considered to be the best of all the Trine games, but all of them feature 3-player co-op, so you can't go wrong with any entry. While the visuals are impressive, some mechanics may require more explanation, and the boss fights are somewhat lacking in complexity. Overall, Trine 2 delivers a delightful and enjoyable experience for puzzle game enthusiasts. The Legend of Zelda: Triforce Heroes is a great co-op puzzle game that excels in demanding teamwork, clever mechanics, and comedic moments. With 32 carefully designed levels, the game encourages players to work together using classic Zelda tools and new features like stacking characters to solve intricate puzzles. While some stages provide the same tools to everyone, they still find ways to promote collaboration. The shared life bar adds tension, as a mistake can send the whole group back to the beginning. The game's wacky story and compact town setting contribute to its lighthearted tone. Combat follows the classic Zelda formula, but introduces the totem system and intense boss fights that require smart teamwork. Unlockable outfits enhance combat abilities, while additional challenges provide increased difficulty and better rewards. This game kind of got some negative attention when it first came out, and I think a lot of people just played it single player, but I also heard that the online multiplayer wasn't very reliable. But if you're able to play this game, the best way to experience it is with 3 different 3DS consoles and 2 of your friends all in the same room. Play this game locally, if possible. The single player offers a different experience, but it lacks the same level of excitement as co-op. Overall, The Legend of Zelda: Triforce Heroes is a successful co-op adventure that I think didn't get the praise that it deserved. Trinity Trigger is the latest game on this list. It was a highly anticipated 90s style JRPG that manages to exceed expectations in most areas. Set in the world of Trinitia, the game follows Cyan, the warrior of chaos, as he fights in the war between the gods of order and chaos. Cyan is joined by Elise and Xantis, and together they embark on a quest to unlock new weapons and prevent Cyan's murder. The combat and design of the game are standout features, reminiscent of classic JRPGs like Secret of Mana. While the plot feels straightforward and the side quests lack depth, Trinity Trigger successfully captures the essence of 90s JRPGs and offers a great nostalgic experience. It's worth noting though, you can't play 3-player from the get-go. You will have to go through the story single player for a little while until you recruit a couple teammates to play it 3 players. That being said, we don't see a lot of JRPGs with co-op, so this is just a breath of fresh air. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs is a memorable arcade game that offers classic Capcom scrolling beat-em-up action, set in the bizarre world of the short-lived cartoon. With the ability to accommodate up to 3 players simultaneously, it provides cooperative gameplay. The game features familiar beat-em-up mechanics, including attacks, jumps, grapples, and special moves. Players can unleash team specials when performing specials together. The unique setting includes both enemy gangs and roaming dinosaurs that add an extra layer of excitement. With solid graphics, catchy music, and diverse levels, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs remains an enjoyable and recommended game, especially for fans of the genre. Alien vs. Predator, the arcade version, is a standout game in the genre of scrolling beat-em-ups, and one of the best licensed games ever. Released in 1994, it features captivating gameplay with 2 selectable Predator characters and a variety of xenomorph enemies. The graphics are detailed and vibrant, accompanied by punchy sound effects and fitting background music. The game follows a thrilling story set in Sandred, California, where Marines and Predators team up to battle xenomorphs unleashed by a rogue general in the Wayland Yutani Corporation. Alien vs. Predator remains one of the best beat-em-ups of all time. There was a 2-player arcade cabinet, but of course, the one that we're talking about is the 3-player version, and that's the best way to play this game. This is a true testament to Capcom's prowess in game development. Secret of Mana is a beloved Super Nintendo role-playing game developed by Squaresoft in the early 90s. Unlike other Square classics, it features an active time battle system, reminiscent of The Legend of Zelda, adding to its uniqueness and reputation as one of the best games of all time. The game's multiplayer capability, requiring a Super Nintendo multi-tap, was pretty unique for the time. We just didn't see a lot of RPGs that were 2 players, let alone 3 players. And that's definitely one of the standout features of this game, and why I just continue to always go back to it. I personally think Secret of Mana is one of the best co-op games of all time. Players control 3 distinct characters who must work together to succeed, with AI taking over if there aren't enough human players. Secret of Mana offers a leveling up system and innovative ring menus, making it a highly enjoyable and memorable experience. There's also a Secret of Mana remake that came out on Steam and other modern platforms. Although I didn't care for the art direction in this version, it's just great to see this game being introduced to a new audience, and it's still totally playable. Not only is Secret of Mana one of the best RPGs of all time, it's one of the best co-op experiences you'll ever find. That's why I put it at our number 1 spot. What is your favorite 3-player co-op game? Are there any that we missed? And if you enjoyed this video, click here to watch our video about the top 10 co-op puzzle games. Thank you for watching.